What did Christ mean when he said, "Truly I say to you, unless you change and become like children, you will not enter the kingdom of heaven"? What did he mean when he said that? Was he saying that you should behave and act like a child? I don't think so. He was speaking more metaphorically, right? What he was saying here is to observe a child. You were a child once. You looked at the world innocently, like with a fresh pair of eyes and a fresh mind. Your mind is not conditioned, a child's mind is not conditioned to think like an adult, to be careful, to be untrustworthy, to be dishonest, and to do things that adults normally do. So, thinking like a child does not mean behaving and acting like a child, but it means being more curious and observant and seeing the world as a child sees the world. Notice how a child does what he or she wants at any given moment. A child is not thinking, should I do this or shouldn't I do this? A child instinctively does what he or she wants. So a child is living in the present moment. At any given moment, the child will do what brings him or her the most joy. A child is also curious about what we adults may consider the most ordinary or mundane things, right? A child looks at everything with a fresh pair of eyes, like it's looking at it for the first time. When was the last time you did that? A child is also curious in the sense that they are always asking questions, trying to know and understand the world. How often have you been curious about the world, curious about reality, curious about yourself? Notice how a child is always present to what is. A child is not thinking about some future goal or accomplishment or how it should pay some bills or that it has to go to work. Obviously, we have to do that because we have to survive. But observe a child and think about why a child is so happy all the time. There's nothing veiling that happiness that a child feels, and that happiness naturally flows. Also, notice how a child is more trustworthy towards others than an adult. That's not a bad thing. You might think that that's a bad thing, but right, the state of the world is as such that you have to teach a child that they can't trust everyone. It's unfortunate. But inherently, trusting everyone should be the good thing, should be what we should all do as a society, as a nation, as a country. But unfortunately, that's not the case. Until society gets to a point, perhaps in the future, when we can trust everyone, even a stranger. So try and look at the world like a child does, with a fresh mind and a fresh pair of eyes. And that does not mean that you have to behave and act like a child. But you can be more curious about the world, curious about yourself, and look at things as if you're looking at it for the first time. I remember when I used to take my nephew for a walk. He used to be curious about the pebbles on the street. And he would go and look for pebbles. An adult would obviously not do that. But the child is looking at the world with a fresh pair of eyes. And even something as ordinary as a pebble is like looking at a gemstone. And what did Christ say when he meant that you will not enter the kingdom of heaven unless you become like a child? What did he mean by the kingdom of heaven? Again, he was speaking metaphorically. He wasn't actually saying that you have to become a child to enter heaven. But his idea of entering the kingdom of heaven is a sense of happiness and joy and peace within your own self. That is the kingdom of heaven. If you can be happy for no reason at all, just constantly happy, like a child is happy. A child has nothing to worry about. Its needs are met. So what reason does a child have to worry? No reason at all. But adults are constantly in a state of worry, which veils our happiness, right? So to be happy for no reason at all is like you're in the kingdom of heaven. Heaven is right here, right now. But only if you can be happy and at joy and at peace for absolutely no reason other than just to be happy.